Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
How amazing would it be if you could practice because you want to, not because you have to? Learn how to improve your cash flow and increase your passive income now. Go to moneyripples.com or find their podcast, The Chris Miles Money Show, to learn more. All right. So first TCB podcast interview of the year. Welcome, Dr. CJ Benkert.
Thank you, Dr. Ed Osborne.
I feel like a little rusty, to be honest. I feel like I haven't done an interview for a while, but I'm sure I'll get right into it pretty quickly. So one thing we like to do is just actually have our guests start by sharing a little bit about themselves. So I know who you are, but for all the docs out there who are going to be listening to this, the thousands of people, go ahead and actually share, who is Dr. CJ?
Dr. CJ is a California-born surfer, natural food, health nut who was pre-med back in late 1980s, dating myself. And I ended up going to Costa Rica for an education abroad program through University of California, Irvine. And I just fell in love with the country and the saying pura vida, which is how they say hello, means pure life. And I came back and decided to go to chiropractic school instead of medical school, just being removed from the United States for the first time, and always just loving all things natural and abhorring all things fake my entire life anyway. So I went through chiropractic school, loved it. My passion and intention and mission really has always been about nutrition. So 8 years ago, I found myself at a crossroads, struggling with my own health, similar story to your own. And I ended up selling my chiropractic practice because I was just completely burnt out and my health was failing. And I just started looking at everything that I did nutritionally, all the training that I had, all my postgraduate education in food, nutrition, detox, fasting. And I started a program called the Pura Vida Transformation System back in 2014. And that's what I love doing. I love helping people get off meds and teaching them how to eat, when not to eat. And it's just, really, really simple. I just like to say, if you give the body the good stuff and take away the bad stuff, miracles occur. But most people don't know, even in my chiropractic training, what the good stuff really was and what the bad stuff was. I thought bananas and yogurt and granola was a great breakfast. And it just didn't work for me as I got older. My body just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, it's really interesting, is like, even as chiropractors or health providers, like we didn't spend that much time on nutrition in school. Like we really didn't. Like I think more than MDs, right? More than medics, but not to any real depth of understanding.
No, I think I had one nutrition class. All of my nutritional training was postgraduate.
Yeah. Do you remember the Krebs cycle?
Oh, yeah. I'm all about the mitochondria and the cells and the ATP.
I need some ATP every other day. Yeah. But I mean, so a lot of what you're teaching and with your system, it must be self-learned, it's self-taught, it's experience, right? And then also working with clients.
Absolutely. And then just playing off of and adopting different principles that I've learned from other mentors and doctors and physicians and clinicians over the years, and just pulling from all of those resources and putting all of that together and just continuing to always be learning. I'm like you, I love to learn, watching different podcasts, YouTube channels, watching different experts in the field on fasting and intermittent fasting and nutrition and detox, Dr. Jason Fong, Dr. Daniel Pompa. I follow all of them and I listen and I learn and I take notes. And then I think my specialty is just kind of distilling that information into a palpable format so that the everyday person can take it in and go, oh, that's why you're not supposed to eat breakfast. Okay, I get it.
But it's interesting though, because we think we know what's healthy for us, like for the temple, but we don't always do. One thing, that's the accountability aspect. We don't always do what's best for us, but we also don't realize how we could actually be polluting our body with something, right? That's like, I know for example, like I can't have certain foods or drinks, otherwise I'm going to suffer. Like I will literally suffer for like months. And it's funny too, how you get older. Do you notice this too with your clients, or that, like the older I get, the longer it takes for me to recover from those things too?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the way that it was explained to me by Dr. Daniel Pompa is we all have a bucket that we're born with. And many of us are pulling different toxins and heavy metals, from our mom in the womb. So we're born with a certain amount in our bucket. And then, mental, emotional, physical, chemical stress happens. Life happens, shit happens. And
that should be your quote.
Yeah, life happens, shit happens. Things start piling into that bucket. And then maybe, 45 years old, you go through a divorce and boom, autoimmune pops up. It didn't pop up, overnight. It was an accumulative effect over the years of physical, chemical, emotional.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Toxins and stress. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, as soon as I hit because I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 39, but as soon as I hit 39, 40, I feel like, I live a healthy or somewhat healthy life, I like to think, but getting adjusted and being adjusted by a chiropractor, and it was one of the things, like the defense of like holding those symptoms from surfacing. And then all of a sudden after that, it just like things, I guess it's the limitations to matter. It's, it's the principle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That eventually that comes out. So one of the things we love too is we love quotes and words of meaning on the podcast. Do you have some words of meaning that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, my favorite quote that has meant the most to me over the years and brings me peace is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it's a big, long paragraph, but the part that I really love is to know that just one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is success. Wow. So it gives me goosebumps saying it, because it's really just about, you and I right now, we're talking, we're connecting. It's just one person at a time, and being in the present moment and connecting, and just knowing that if you just one person, I'm good. I'm happy with my life. I know that I've made a huge change in at least one person's life. And I just want to keep doing that every day.
It's so reminiscent of that BJ quote, right? It's what is it? Oh, God, I'm going to butcher it, but it's like, you never know, like what you say, think, or do can change the lives of millions tomorrow. It's kind of a flip side of it, of not one person, but millions, but it's so true.
Yeah,
right?
It is true.
Yeah. Like simple things that you could do that we don't even acknowledge in ourselves can really change someone else's life and their direction. So it's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So has there ever been a time, like, I know that probably this is very unlikely, but that you've ever struggled, that you've ever eaten the shit sandwich and gone, you know what, this has been a real difficult time in my life. It could be professionally, could be personally, what that experience might've been, but also like what you learned from it and how you actually move forward and applied that principles to your life now.
Well, it's interesting that you say it's probably unlikely. I'm not sure why you would say that.
Everyone's had the shit, right? Well, you said shit happens, life happens. Yeah.
I would say for me, one of the most pivotal moments was ending a relationship. And this was in 2014, right about the same time that I sold my chiropractic practice. So that was kind of a part of it too, but just really coming to terms with anything and everything we need, we have inside of us. Yeah. We don't need to look outside of ourselves. We don't need another person to make us whole. So, from 2014 till now, I've just been on this really deep spiritual journey to, remember who I really am and to connect with me and my source and, the universal energy, God, spirit, whatever it is that you call it, because the more I connect with that, the more at peace I am, and the more I actually have to offer other people, because I'm not looking for other people to fill me or to give me love or give me recognition or, give me acknowledgments. I have that already inside myself.
Wow.
It was painful though. It was painful.
I'll bet.
Because up until that point, I thought I had to have that other person for me to be happy. Yeah. I went through a good 2 years of just intense, deep, emotional pain. Lost my grandmother at the same time, who was living in my home. Yeah, sold my practice, just, major, major changes. But it's all good. It created growth in me.
Yeah.
All these bad things, we look at them as being so bad, but it's always for our growth. If everything was great, we would just stay where we are and just get stagnant and stale and just spoil, like a piece of fruit on the counter. We've got to eat it, eat the sweet life.
Yeah.
Grow new things, move on.
I wonder why it's so difficult though, because especially when you're in a relationship and you're that deep in, right?
Yeah.
And you're so invested in a relationship like that, and then you build a codependency, it seems. So what happened with me, I went through a very similar process, here I am. And basically like 2 years ago, I didn't even know how to pay my bills. Like I didn't even know how to access my bank account online. Like, I know there were so many dependencies on this person does one thing and the other person does another. So I whether it's finances or whether it's, emotionally or whatever, you become a very different person when you experience that struggle, right? And to become independent or to really just own your shit, right?
Yes. Take responsibility for where you are in life.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know I can pay my own bills. I know I figured it out, but, but it was a tough thing at the time, right? It was very tough.
Yeah.
I didn't want to face it. And that really, I wrote down this question as you were speaking. It just inspired me. It's like, why is it so hard to acknowledge the gift of the struggle when we're in it? I can see it when I get past it, I can see it. But when you're in it, it's so hard to acknowledge, okay, this is happening for a reason. Why do you think that is? Tough questions today.
Yeah, philosophical questions, which is where I see myself, ending up eventually as like more of a spiritual teacher versus, health and nutrition. I think, our DNA is ingrained with survival, and survival is finding the most comfortable spot. So I think it's just part of us, still being here today and surviving after millions of years.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be in an uncomfortable spot, because if we just stayed there, it would create damage to us. So I think it's just instilled in us that not to like it. It's all about what we call, like Abraham Hicks talks about, the contrast. All of life is really just one stick, one end and the other end. It's a shitty end and the blissful end. Same stick. So just being able to flip it, and we wouldn't know what we really wanted and what would bring us forward to the next level of joy and peace and love, unless it was awful going through it. It wouldn't catapult us into that next growth level. That's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you must experience a lot of challenges or obstacles or when you're working with clients one-on-one, and you do a lot, would you say like most of what you do is virtual, or is it in office for your programs?
I personally do mostly virtual. I still do have one clinic, but thanks to you and a lot of the training that I've done with you, and what's been, on my bucket list for a good 7-8 years is to be completely 100% virtual. So I do most of my coaching from home. With COVID, I finally did launch more of a remote program, so the 12-month coaching program, my signature program that we only offered in the clinic, we now offer online, and I have an online portal. Again, with your direction and a lot of the things that you've aspired me to, that we can just put it all online, that I can reach more people. So I think right now I'm only about 25% remote, 75% in clinic. But I'm working on, the target of, being 100% virtual at some point, and or if I still have my clinic, that's fine, but I've got, trained health coaches and team members and personnel that can handle the clinic. And it's not something that I have to, get up and go into. I can be traveling and have that freedom that you always speak of. It's not about the money, like you've said, it's the ratio.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's the freedom, and it's doing what you love to do. I love to travel and connect with my loved ones and have freedom. So I definitely love where I'm at right now. There's always room for improvement, but
moving
I'm
forward,
very happy with where I'm at and how many changes I've made in my business over the years.
Outstanding. Are you familiar with, or have you heard about like any of the like artificial intelligence, like Chat GPT or anything like that? Have you heard about that? Or
you mean like the different stuff that can automatically, like on Facebook direct messaging, stuff like that? Or
well, no, so anyone who's listening, they might want to go check out Chat GPT. It's a free AI that'll actually write you pretty much any, like, so for example, I can go in and I can say, be my copywriter, write me a Facebook post on ... And it'll write me I did it the other day on write me a post on inauthenticity, which is ironic, being as I didn't write it. It was written by a bot. But I had a conversation with it too. And I'm like, are you sentient? And it's like, no, I'm not sentient. I'm like, do you feel happy or sad? No, I don't feel happy or sad. Do you know Siri? And they're like, yeah, I'm familiar with Siri. So it's really interesting technology, but here's how it's relevant to us as health providers. People can go in, how like everyone's like the Google doctor. You can go in and you can actually ask for health advice. Be my doctor, be my fitness trainer, be my nutritionist. And it will develop a complete program for you. It'll map it out. Write me code to create a program for ... And it's free. It's called Chat GPT. So here's the question I have for you. So where I see it so valuable is that not only is it helpful in creating a lot of really great content that you can kind of put your own persona into, but for people like yourself who are, working with people one-on-one and coaching them, I don't think that's ever going to be replaceable by AI. Don't you agree? Like, I mean, the humanism is what is going to be so valuable. That's what people are going to be paying for in the future, is the connection and humanism that we instill inside of what we do. So whether it's as a chiropractor, whether it's as a nutritionist, or whether it's like these online experiences that we have to keep kind of thinking like, we don't want to be replaced by AI in the future. So yeah, I'm going to encourage anyone who's out there, go check it out. It's kind of cool and fun to play with. But here's another question. Would you trust an AI to create a program for a client?
No.
I don't know if I would either. To be honest, I don't know. Like, I mean, really.
So there's another resource, and I'm going to try it out this year. I've talked to you about it before. It's called Quenza.
Oh, okay.
Quenza app, and it's very affordable. You could try it out for 30 days for $1, and it's a full coaching app. And there's thousands of coaches, nutritionists in this platform that have shared different exercises, questionnaires, pathways of support that you can just pull anything that you want. And so it automatically takes people through different trainings and exercises. Like for me, emotional eating, tracking your food, things like that, where you can automate the process a little bit more. But I do agree with you that you're never going to take the place of the human connection. We're humans. That's what fulfills us. We're here to connect and bond with each other. If you don't connect with people, and that's another thing I used to think, I didn't need anybody, different childhood traumas and, going through, I think I'd moved 18 times by the time I was 18. I'm like, I don't need anybody. I just need me. I don't need anybody because I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
But we do need other people. You can't know love. You can't know peace without sharing that with another person. You experience love when you give it to someone in front of you. When you help that person in front of you, you get something back. It's that mirror, that exchange, and it's crucial. They've done studies that people that drink actually live longer, because people that drink go out and have social
fun.
activities and have fun
Really?
and talk. Yeah.
Oh,
They
wow.
actually live longer, people that drink. And it's because of the social aspect involved with drinking.
That's interesting. So it's like they have again, it's not the alcohol itself, which could be detrimental to your health in some ways, or your liver, but it's the benefits of being around other people and being happy. So yeah, I love it. And so I want to make sure I get your website right. So it's Dr. CJ Pura, Dr. CJ Pura Veda.com. Veda with an I?
Yeah.
All right, listeners, go to your show notes. You'll actually see it there, but it's drcjpuravita.com.
There you go.
And you can check out everything that you're doing there. And if they want to reach out to you and maybe ask some questions, if they're looking at maybe, creating something that's a program that's virtual for them, you could even help, give them some guidance. You've been doing this forever, it seems now. So you've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, I'd love to help any way that I can. I've gotten so much help from other docs, from you and different docs that have worked with you. They've always just like anything I need, they just send it to me. Email sequences, Scott, the fasting, lifestyle.
Right.
Scott, he like sent me all of his emails. I was like, whoa, dude, that's amazing. Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah. And I mean, I love where this conversation has kind of gone to, is like, again, this, we can never be replaced, and I think a lot of, because like one of the questions a client asked me yesterday or today, I can't remember, they said, do you think copywriters are going to be replaced by like technology? And it's like, yeah, maybe. So what we do will never be replaceable.
No. Nope.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's too, what we do, the critical thinking and the humanism, right? Yes. The caring, I don't think that can ever be replaced.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
A human spirit connecting with another human spirit.
Yeah. It's priceless. A good reminder.
That's how we should end it. Human spirits connecting with human spirits. Priceless.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do, Dr. CJ. We're going to take you and we're going to put you into the TCP time machine. Okay. So it's our cheesy time machine. So I'm going to send you back to a younger version of yourself. Now, this is right after you came out of chiropractic college. So we're going to zoom you right back to that exact date. You're going to meet that younger version of yourself. Now you have all the life experience, all the knowledge that you have today. What would you say to that younger self?
Oh my goodness. To enjoy every moment, every day. Stop looking to the future all the time. Just enjoy the process and tell her it's everything's going to be okay. You're always going to be taken care of, and just enjoy every moment. It's so short. We're in a certain place in time and we're like, it's never going to end. It always ends. It always ends. Our kids growing up, having our grandparents alive in our life. I loved being in chiropractic school. I was just talking to my girlfriend about that yesterday. I absolutely loved being in chiropractic school. It's one of the most memorable moments of my entire life. I loved it. And it was all about the connection.
Yeah.
Having 100 students that were going through the same experience.
Common experience.
3.5, 4 years, vacationing with them, hanging out with them after school, playing basketball. I mean, I just absolutely adored chiropractic school. Loved it. So fulfilling.
When you were there at the time, though, did you think it was one of the hardest times, like periods of your life?
Oh, yeah, it was hard, but I thrived. Yeah. I thrived because I was finally learning information that I knew would be directly applicable to my career and helping another person sitting in front of me. I never was very good in school through high school. And as soon as I decided what I really wanted to do, I was like a straight A student. But I was like an average C student in high school. And I didn't think I was smart. Yeah. Until I got into chiropractic school. I'm like, wow, I'm pretty smart. I'm like top 5 of my class. Not bad. People are cheating off of me, taking tests.
And then, because like for me, when I was in chiropractic college, I'm like, oh man, this is as hard as it's ever going to get. Like life cannot be any more challenging. And then I graduated and I was like, oh my God.
It was way worse.
Now I look back and I'm like, nostalgic of like, oh my God, that was the best friggin' times of my life.
Yeah, because like really no responsibility necessarily. You weren't out in the real world. You didn't have to, make an income and make a living and take care of your family and keep a practice running and pay all of your employees. Yeah, I had no idea what I was in store for. Good thing.
Well,
It's
and
fucking hard.
It's fucking, yeah, it is fucking hard. But it's a
Yeah.
good reminder too, for sometimes to reflect on, this is again, as we're going into the new year, right? Is like
Yes.
2022 might have been a hard year, or may have appeared or felt like a hard year.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of your best years yet. You don't know yet, but you can put some contrast to it soon. See how 2023 goes. So
Yes.
let me ask you this. Like, I mean, we love resources. So
Okay.
is there a podcast? Is there a person? Is there a book? Anything that you think is a really great resource that one of our listeners is like, okay, you got to go out, you got to consume this right now.
My podcast, my book, or someone else's?
You can drop those and then drop another one. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say one of the books that's had the largest impact on me recently is Why We Get Sick.
Oh, okay. Nice.
By Dr. Benjamin Bickman. And it's all about insulin resistance, which we now know 88% of Americans have. And it's really the foundation of all the inflammation, and most of the diseases stem from that. As far as like a podcast that's had the most impact on me, probably Dr. Mindy Pelz.
She's great.
She's amazing. And, her and I have trained under a lot of the same mentors. She's with Dr. Daniel Pompa as well. But she just, she's just got that personality and that energy. She's just taken it to a whole new level. She's got thousands, I'm sure, I think close to 1 million, YouTube. And she's just really passionate about helping people learn how to fast. So that's been a huge resource for me. And then last year, I released a book called The Diabetic Weight Loss Solution. It's not really about diabetes per se, it is, but insulin resistance is what most of us have anyway. So it's really just about, what's causing all of this suffering and all of these diseases. It's the toxic overload, it's mental emotional stress, it's poor diet, it's thinking that the food pyramid released in 1980 is the way to eat. So I just go through in my book all the things that cause dis-ease, weight loss resistance, autoimmune, cancer, diabetes, and what you can do to start removing those toxins, and what you can do to start eating differently, and just teaching people the main tenets of a healthy lifestyle. Most people think canola oil is healthy. Get that crap out of your house. One of the worst things you can put in your body. And I didn't know that. I thought vegetable oil was healthy.
I was going to say
oil. Isn't that healthy? It's one of the worst things you could put. It's even worse than sugar, vegetable oils.
Yeah.
So I cover all that in the book, and I basically kind of go through my whole coaching program. So if you can do it yourself, if you want, it's just, I think it's a great resource to really just get a good foundation of the truth about health and illness, and not what most of us have been taught since day one, just treating symptoms, similar to the chiropractic premise, of innate intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I've said, give the body the good stuff, take away the bad stuff, miracles occur. That's chiropractic, remove interference.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a simple principle, simple but not easy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I have a coaching program and support people and hold people accountable. That's why
accountability,
you coach people.
Yeah.
We have to have accountability. We won't do it without the accountability. It just doesn't work.
So I dropped your website on, so anyone who's listening here or watching on, social media, because we are doing this live, you can actually head right to the comments, and I've dropped the link there. So they could go pick up a copy of your book right there, right? From your website?
Yeah. The book's on the website. Pretty much everything I do is on the website. My YouTube channel, my podcast. Yeah.
All the stuff.
Thank you.
And if you're listening actually on audio, which many of you will be, 60% of you are going to be listening on mobile, actually head to your show notes. Just go ahead and open those up, and you'll see a link there also inside of the show notes. But Doc, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This is our show has always been and always will be. I think we're just over 400 episodes now, which is crazy to me. But yeah, just craziness. And we're still, crushing it in terms of like listenership every month. But this show has always been about giving back. So I want to thank you so much for giving back today.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. I respect you and have so much admiration for you. You've been a huge part of who I am and my success, and you're definitely one of my main mentors. In fact, I don't think you have my book, but you're in my foreword.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now I have to go get a copy.
Well, you're in my acknowledgments, not my forward, my acknowledgments.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
I'll send you a copy.
I'll drop you my address. Absolutely.
Yes,
I'll put it out
please.
there for everyone to go get a copy then too.
Will you give me your address so I can send you a copy?
Yeah, as soon as we get off live stream.
Perfect.
I don't want people sending me a hate mail or something, just in case.
Or showing up at your door. Hi, Dr. Ed.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being on the show today. And I'll connect with you in just a moment.
Perfect. Thanks, Dr. Ed.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Chiropractic Philanthropist.